If you thought that Marco Rubio was a pathetic selection to Donald Trump's cabinet, I have what you're right, if that's what you thought. But I have one that is even more pathetic for you. Donald Trump has selected Kristi Noem to serve as his Homeland Security Secretary. This is the same Kristi Noem who completely debased and embarrassed herself with the unexplainable false claims in her memoir that she met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. We'll get to that in a moment. CNN reports Trump picks Kristi Noem to serve as his Homeland Security Secretary. Noem will be tapped to take over the agency as two key immigration hardliners, Stephen Miller and Tom Homan, are slated to serve in senior roles. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Kristi Noem is really clueless. She's painfully ignorant. Horrible, horrible person, too. Forget about when she killed a dog. Remember when she appeared on Fox News and mentioned that Texas and as one of the 13 original colonies would never have signed the Constitution of the United States? Well, only one problem with that, Kristi. Texas wasn't a state at the time, so they wouldn't have been able to do it regardless.
Texas and those 13 original colonies would have never signed the treaty that formed the first Constitution of the United States if they didn't think that their right to protect themselves and defend their own people was protected.
Well, I've got news for you, Kristi. That has nothing to do with why Texas signed it. They didn't sign it because Texas wasn't a state until 1845. But this is nothing. This is nothing compared to the humiliating debacle in which her book contained an anecdote about her meeting North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This raised a lot of eyebrows because if she had met such a leader, that would have been of great interest to our intelligence agencies. They would have wanted to debrief her. It would have made news. Of course, there was no record of it. And as she started to be asked about it, she simply would not provide a straight answer about why that was in the book and whether she is really claiming that she met Kim Jong-un. This debacle arguably single-handedly disqualified her from being in the running to be Donald Trump's VP.
Let's talk first, but we don't want to talk about a lot of topics that you address in the book. But the book is called No Going Back, but it sounds like the publisher, Center Street, is going back on a couple of the details in the book.
Oh, I don't believe so.
Specifically, when you write in the book, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, I'm sure he underestimated me. That, as I understand, is now being removed from the book at your request.
Yes, when I became aware of that, we changed the content.
Remember, when I became aware, she wrote it, at least in theory, and she recorded it for the audiobook. What does that mean, when I became aware? Even if you didn't write it, even if your ghostwriter wrote it, you read it for the audiobook. So what, you became aware of it at this point in time? Incoherent.
And the future editions will be adjusted. And, I appreciate that. I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. I should not have put that anecdote in the book. And at my request, they have
that
removed it.
specific meeting didn't happen?
I'm saying that I'm not talking about that meeting. I'm not talking about my meetings with world leaders.
But you
there's
do
some
talk
that are
about
in the
meetings
book.
with world leaders.
There's some that are in the book, and then there's some that's not in the book. Many
but why
of them,
are there
actually.
two specific mentions of meeting Kim Jong-un and talking about him, and a specific memory? I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. Did you tell your ghostwriter to write that?
I specifically have worked on policy for over 30 years. And
if you're wondering why this is so absurd, it's because she's completely obfuscating.
over that time, I have traveled around the world, and I have met with leaders around the world. And that anecdote, I've asked them to change the content, and it will be removed.
It's a simple question. Did you or did you not meet with Kim Jong-un?
That's the answer that I have for you, is that it will be a...
I'm giving you an answer that makes no sense. That this is if you are someone who lives in the United States, she is going to be your Secretary of Homeland Security. The preservation and maintenance of your national security will depend on this woman, Kristi Noem, who time and again would not answer simple questions.
Specifically, when you write in the book, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, I'm sure he underestimated me. That, as I understand, is now being removed from the book at your request.
Yes, when I became aware of that, we changed the content, and the future editions will be adjusted. And, I appreciate that. I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world.
This is so absurd, so absurd. And the next day, Peter Alexander from ABC, he tried it, and it didn't go any better. Your incoming Secretary of Homeland Security, I present to you.
So let's talk about the book, having gone through much of it right now. This week, Russian President Vladimir Putin traveled to North Korea to meet with Kim Jong-un. In the first release of your book, you wrote, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, there was no evidence that that meeting happened. So how did it make it into your book, Governor?
I'm not going to talk about that.
You're not going to talk about how it made it in your book?
I took that line out of my book, and I'm not going to talk about it.
I guess my question is, you wrote the book, though, so why was that line ever in your book if it didn't happen?
I wrote the book, and I hope people will read it. It's a good book about how the American citizen can get involved in their government again and what
She really is this despicable.
they can do, and how the most powerful person in government is them. It's the people who show up, who get engaged, and the stories of what they can do to take this country back, and how Donald Trump's policies work for the American people.
And understood, then, just to put it to bed once and for all, did you or did you not meet with Kim Jong-un?
I am not going to talk about this.
Wouldn't it be why is that such a difficult one to say publicly?
Because I've taken that.
Because it just is. Just cuz, Peter, please. Rapidly becoming a clown car cabinet. It's worse than I thought it would be. And I thought it would be really bad. I mean, you all know, I told you, it will be really bad. And it is already shaping up to be worse than I expected. Let's zoom out and talk about the Trump staff incoming more generally. Well, I wrote a book after a long journey and a ton of work. I am really thrilled with how it turned out, and I hope you'll read it. The book is called The Echo Machine, and in a nutshell, it looks at how American politics got so broken, who has already figured out solutions, and how we can try to fix it and stop the terror of Trump for the next 4 years. With Trump winning this election, the Echo Machine couldn't be more relevant, not only a warning about how we got here, but also about what might be coming and how to prevent the worst outcomes. We've got to stay engaged. We need a plan, and that's what the book is about. There's a belief out there that unless you have corporate media behind you, you can't have a successful political book launch, that it's not possible. I think we can prove that wrong. Order The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, please order me The Echo Machine by David Pakman. Wherever you get the book, you'll get the free pre-order perks, including the signed book plate. Head to davidpakman.com/free book stuff after ordering.